90% of the Google ads clicks are bots.
I mean, I wasn't part of the oil family or anything like that, you know?
Is it really worth 190,000? I don't think so.
Yeah, right? And then you get to come back to your business and see how bad it did. You know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness, you know?
But if you really want to start a business, just start it on the evenings and the weekends.
Yeah.
If that's not for you, then entrepreneurship is not really for you.
It's a good test. People here don't pick up the phone.
Yeah, my phone is always mute. You're never going to be able to reach me like on the phone.
That's a normal thing here.
It's hard to scale zoo. It's a much easier to scale a farm. Hello everyone, this is Sardor Umrdinov. I'm a founder of Home Alliance and group of companies. It's a tech-enabled company with over $100 million valuation, horizontal and vertically integrated company nationwide. Today I have my guest, incredible and interesting person, Mo Mohammed. Thanks for having you here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey everyone, my name is Mo. Have a big sales background, started in sales when I was 18 years old to eventually having my first company when I was in my early 20s. And I would say I'm a product of failing forward, learning, paying to learn, the Harvard program, Tony Robbins. Today, I've always wanted to have a business in the United States, and I'm here, ready to use all my experience and networking to definitely not only get ahead, but to add value. Let's
talk about building a business. What are the ways or the methods of building a successful business in 2025? What kind of direction you would take?
Yeah, it's a good question. Great question. I mean, I'm just gonna use my experience in the home service space, and bootstrapping the business and home services kind of comes from my sales experience. So I look at it as today, social media is huge. There's mass adoption. The baby boomers have adopted social media. So the marketing has changed, where I started in door to door, and today you can do social media marketing. So I look at, HVAC, doing HVAC, I would get my social media, Facebook set up, very simple, have a small ad budget, A/B test something simple to actually get leads and go out there and do it myself. I think a lot of people, try to plan to perfection. And when you're starting up a business, you just got to take action.
What do you think? What is more important, to know how to install, to do how to do work, or to do proper marketing, or to do proper sales?
It's a great question. So, I mean, in the industry itself, let's look, for HVAC, distribution is already set up for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do distribution yourself, Installers, I have no technical background. You can subcontract that all out, right? And essentially what you have to learn is how to sell.
Yeah.
So you just have to have a simple value proposition that the end user can understand and add value to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all your time and money should be on sales and marketing, because you can get the distribution for the actual product. They're doing it all for you. You can sub out the job, and I'll use something as simple as a furnace. You literally run an ad online. And the cool thing about today, compared to when I started in the business, like I said, mass adoptions happen on social media, and people are now buying or getting interested, not in commercials anymore. They're doing it on social media. Today, just to kind of give everybody a practical example, you can go on Facebook ad library, look up the space you're in, type in furnace, and see what ads are being run on furnace and copy it.
So what you are saying is you don't really need a billboard to start a business
at all. And believe it or not, it's a lot cheaper than what most people think it is, right?
How much of money you need to start a business?
So I'll use my real life example. I started off in the HVAC space using a thermostat to get in front of homeowners. That first month, just under $3,000, and my business took off from there. And bootstrapped it, just getting in front of homes using a thermostat digitally to get in front of homeowners.
So you are talking about the experience here now, or you're talking about the experience in Canada when you started the first time?
In Canada.
So basically you're doing the same methodology here as well.
Absolutely. And it's very simple to just focus on sales and marketing, spend a little bit of, money. But even if you don't need to be creative, the social media, Facebook ad library, you can see what everybody's doing. Practically, the older the ad is that it's been running, it means it's probably working for that business. So you can copy it.
If you want to start and scale home service business and you don't know how, follow and subscribe. I'm going to be sharing all of the insights here. So basically, you plan it from the end, from the installation, but you test it in the beginning in the marketing itself.
That's absolutely right. And finding The fulfillment side of the piece is simply calling people.
You get the fulfillment first. So someone has to be ready to install.
Yes.
You negotiate a deal, how much it's going to cost to install it,
Yes.
right? Then basically, now you know what you're going to be selling.
Yes.
You know how much it's going to cost.
Yes.
You are basically doing minimum viable product, MVP.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
you're running an ad on that one product. You're running an ad. You're converting it.
Yeah.
You are doing a test sell yourself.
Yes.
And once this contract is signed, you are basically giving it to subcontractor to install it.
And then you rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And if you're making a margin, a good margin, healthy margin, and the ad is bringing in at a low cost or minimal cost where you are still making a margin and you're able to get enough data flow or lead flow, you can start to build.
What is your ROAS expectations in the beginning?
From my experience, I'm targeting anywhere from $5 to $25 a lead.
Every dollar you spend, how much revenue you're expecting?
Any dollar I spend, I want to get $10 return. At the very beginning, it's much simpler to do it because it's just you. You're trying to actually leverage out, you know what I mean? Just you. So you're able to A/B testing and you're setting the expectations along the way. And your energy is really high and your excitement's there. You know what I mean?
It's really similar I do, but my ROAS expectations lower because I'm not the one who's doing the sales. I kind of delegate that one as well.
Yeah.
In the membership, I kind of looking for 1 or 2x ROAS.
Yeah.
On the sales cycle, on any ticket I'm selling, I'm looking like 2, 3, 4 ROAS, because if that works, now I know how can I fine tune it further on the marketing or the conversions or on the sales, and actually you can optimize it and actually come up to the 5 to 10 ROAS afterwards.
Which channel were you looking for your side of the business when you started, were you taking advantage of? You know, me, I focused on Facebook a lot, right?
When I started, Facebook didn't exist in 2009 and 10.
That's right.
I was doing PPC AdWords.
Yeah.
So basically, depending on what product we are selling.
What about today?
Today, again, depending on the product. If it's emergency services, it's not Facebook.
Got it.
It's going to be still Google AdWords. Google AdWords normally costs 33% of the revenue. Like 1/3, 3 ROAS you're going to be getting because it's really competitive, right? But if I'm looking for high ticket items like solar, HVAC, or any other things, the Facebook works perfectly. You cannot really go that target local. It's harder. It has to be big enough, the population, territory, or audience to actually get it. And lead cost, we are getting about, depending on the product offer, it can be $25, it can be $100 sometimes, and it can be $20. If the offer is really good, then we can drop it to like 10. And one of the offers I'm running is I'm seeing like $1.50, $2.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
Those are good days. Those are good days. Yeah.
So you're looking for $5, right? On the lead cost.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been extremely happy with $5. Your margin fare is bigger.
Yeah.
Right. And
so
you get
what you normally get that you get basically $5 per lead. And what is your conversion expectations from that lead? How many lead will convert to appointment?
I'm usually targeting 30%. 30% of the leads coming in, I'm trying to book for an appointment.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge number.
Yeah,
then you should have actually a really good call center or like SDRs from the lead.
So right after the appointment, you're trying to close at about 20 to 25%. So first and foremost, from appointment, 50% of them usually show up. So there's a fall off. They reschedule, cancel. And then I'm trying to close at 20% of who we actually sit down with. The end result is about, 2.5% conversion of all leads that come in.
Yeah.
That's the target. When that was in the good days of when you're kind of doing something. And I would also say on like the advertising as a whole, try to be very creative.
Yeah.
Facebook, which I know, you want to be very unique, but also relatable. If you're doing what everybody else is doing, you're not going to be getting $5 a lead.
Yeah, I like the way how you do it. You basically set up the ads yourself, try to close them yourself. You go through actually every single step of the journey. You try to go and document the scorecards and KPIs, expectations, so then you can actually scale.
That's literally what it is. And then when you set the expectations one by one, and I think the first 10 people out there seeing people every day is the hard part, is the challenging part. You got to go through a lot of people to get to 10 and recruiting. And once you get there, you have an engine that's really, really scalable and working.
So basically, you're kind of proving the model in the beginning.
Yeah.
Once you kind of identify that block, by marketing block, sales block, then installation, And then after that, you calculate your unit economic profitability, making sure you fit it, like the net profit and gross profit and all that. Then you repeat basically, right? Like after
That's
that,
it.
it's
Rinse
just
and
scale.
repeat. You got to have your package, your margins in order and all that. And the cool thing, like I said, Facebook, the numbers don't lie, right? You're getting the numbers, you know what you're paying your guys, and you know where you end up at. You got to review that month to month.
Yeah, I think it's the Facebook is like same thing as having banners, billboards, but digitally. Like you can see more data, like how many people saw it.
Yeah. It's all about impressions, right?
Impressions, correct.
Yeah. It's crazy because I knocked doors in the past, and seeing it, it's like kind of knocking doors online.
How many times people do you think should see the banner like in order to actually do a decision to convert, like fill up the lead form?
That's something that that would be a complete guess, but I know from commercials from back in the days, they would say they would see it 7 to 8 times before buying, right?
Yeah. It's now 35 times.
It's 35 times.
35
I would guess
times,
it's more.
Because people time spent is shorter now because they just flip. People have to like see your ad like 35 times to actually buy.
Wow. So what are you on your side for the advertising? Is it totally different on the Google? I guess it's more when it's service, like you're saying. You're obviously having to spend a lot more money. The pain is in the moment, right?
Yeah, because we are as you know, we are on more emergency services, right? Like it can be appliance, HVAC, plumbing, electric, whatever the emergency services. On an emergency services, it's a search ads. It's not social ads. It's a Google AdWords. It can be Yelp ads, or it can be SMS or email. It's a search engine optimization. So like we spend a lot of money on SEO, and nowadays actually like it's becoming AI. People are starting looking in ChatGPT and other AI platforms.
Grok and everything.
Correct. Like if you look at the top appliance repair companies, is whatever the city, that result is going to be one, like our company is going to be one of those results.
Is it because you're using AI platforms and stuff like that? Is it cheaper or like is it?
No, people's habit changing.
Just their habits of searching.
Yeah, like let's say like when you're looking things now, how often you're using now Google versus ChatGPT.
Yeah. It's definitely down the middle now.
Like Google, I think this the first time they got their red alert or something, because they never really had the competition. Now the ChatGPT AI is actually creating competition for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like now it's not just about the search engine optimization, it's about AI optimization, like ChatGPT or other AI platform optimization, because they're crawling the information from Google and other browsers and actually combining them together and giving it more friendly way.
Do you think the current future and everything, it's going to shift into the ads now you're running on these different platforms like ChatGPT, you're running your ads strictly on there, or like X, because they're all competing against each other for ad rev, right? Do you think it's going to be like that? And also another question would be is there any, one company where we can kind of integrate all of it, or you can kind of run an ad where and then it shoots it everywhere. You know how Facebook, you run an ad there, it's on Instagram too.
Yeah. I think eventually the ChatGPT is going to come up as an ad platform there.
Right? A platform.
Yeah. They're going to have like probably on the results, like they have the organic results now, they're going to probably have like almost like a Google AdWords, like on the side or on the top, they're going to have the ad.
And just API with everybody.
API, correct, yes. Then you can go actually how you set up the Google ads or it was Yahoo ads first, it will be the same thing, pay-per-click.
Think that will make it cheaper per result or more expensive? I think cheaper, right?
Probably it's going to be cheaper. Yeah, probably it's going to be cheaper because I don't think they're going to be able to have bots.
Yeah.
Because in Google, 90% of the Google ads clicks are bots.
Yeah.
I saw the Oxford University research. I have a proof, and then they deleted. Like 90% of the clicks, whatever happens on Google AdWords, it's bots or like not humans.
Wow.
Basically, it means Google is generating 90% of the revenue artificially.
Yeah.
They should not be having that. Basically,
it's a lot of revenue for artificial.
Correct. Yeah. You basically can divide it by 10. That should be the Google's revenue.
Wow.
And they actually pushing the competition to fight with each other and actually click or whatever. The Facebook, yes, I agree with you. It's 50% of the, I think, clicks or lead forms are fraudulent.
Wow.
I don't think it's someone is purposely is filling up the lead form. I think just Facebook itself does that. They just basic algorithm fits you non-existing leads. It's this practice. It's a big practice in the pay-per-call, pay-per-lead businesses. They basically mix the sand with salt,
which makes sense.
Yeah,
so you're getting a false reality of where you are.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people are ready to pay. We are continue paying for it, right?
Yeah,
So they just generate more revenue.
Yeah, and a lot of people are. That's why the importance of the KPIs, so that you can actually know where you're at when you're doing, and starting a business in Facebook and everything like that. You got to be able to, or leveraging Facebook or any social media platform. You got to really know what your end result is converting at, because you know how much you're gonna have to spend, regardless of how much sand is in there, right?
Yeah. So basically, like first you identify the MVP, we create the MVP. Then what do you do next? Like so, then you start building the production blocks, sales blocks, how you scale the organization.
So I think there's, the next key piece, and you can kind of wear all these hats at the beginning yourself. And that's what I did is really the next piece is you start to recruit. Because if you have something that's working and you think about it from a, hey, can I bring somebody in and they can make a healthy living doing this? Okay, I can. You got to recruit salespeople, but you also got to recruit more installers. You also, have to have some distribution deals in place where the distributors are everywhere. So in HVAC, the distributors are all over the place. You go and you just get a deal for a certain product line that you're going to offer for a customer so that you can easily get it. Right?
So you believe in selling the same package over and over, right?
Yes, I do. I do. I think, I really try to understand the pain point for the consumer and then build a value proposition that's not only product wise, but service and product together. So I build a unique value proposition for the customer and just keep it simple, right? So that because when you keep the same product mix and you can program, you're targeting a certain niche of clients, it's much easier to teach 1, 2, 3, 10, 15 salespeople than everybody doing something different.
Yeah. So when you're building an organization, how long do you think, do you plan like a year, 3 year, 5 year? How do you normally plan? 4 years?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, they go, 1, 3, and 5.
Yeah.
You got to be just kind of clear on your organization's goals, whether it's built to sell or built to last.
Okay. Which one do you prefer?
Built to sell.
A lot of business owners out there, like they hold the business and they think the next generation will take over, but normally it doesn't, right? Like
with all this technology advancing,
yeah,
baby boomers hold most of these plumbing, HVAC, service-based businesses, and their kids are somewhere else.
So they're TikTok.
And I think a lot of baby boomers right now are selling their businesses at a very high rate, right?
Yeah, because we no matter what, we're going to be exiting, right? Like first we exit the field. Then we exit the field. From the field, we go to the management. Then from management, we exit to the leadership.
Yes.
Then from the leadership, we exit to become the board. Then eventually we become the investor.
Exactly. You got to let go to grow.
Correct. Yeah. You might get stuck. You might be stuck on the field, or you might be stuck on the management, where you have like an octopus running the whole organization. Or you might be stuck in the leadership, but eventually you're going to have to let it go. Either way, like, we are humans, right? Like the time is going to come no matter
progression.
What. Progression, correct. Yeah. I like the way you think, like about, like eventually it's better to build it to sell, right? Like that way it's easy to attract talent.
Yes.
It's easy to attract investors. This way, like when you build it backwards with the exit in mind, it's much easier to build everything. It's like you can build much faster.
Absolutely. And I think it's also personal. Everybody has different preferences of like what they prefer to do. But like that's why you find certain people in the same place 10 years later.
Right.
Because they're holding on to their business, which is totally fine, right? And they're getting the value out of their business to serve their life. It's really what your vision is and what you want to do with your business.
Yeah.
That really matters. But personally, like built to sell. Definitely what that's preferring.
Built to sell.
Yeah.
But it's easier to motivate the people as well, because people don't want to become like be with you forever. They probably have their own priorities.
Yeah.
They want to spend time with the family or lovely ones and go somewhere. Well, how can hold them for so long?
Exactly.
You should actually have an exit in mind. So they can actually have a liquidity event and exit, because I did that mistake of actually building a legacy play, but I end up losing all my core team because they couldn't wait that long.
Yes, exactly. A lot of people have different internal goals for themselves.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, and people's priorities might change. The situation might change. Someone gets sick. So you have to actually give the people opportunity to liquidate, exit, and be able to start something new. Or I really like the movie called Ocean 11.
Yeah.
Ocean 10,
Love
Ocean
that
11.
movie. Yeah.
Yes. You put the team together for the target. Once the target is achieved, all split up. The next one, when you want to call again, you can call those people, loyal people again. They will come and join you for the next target, right? Like same thing in business, like build to exit. You can much faster and better attract talent because you have an exit in mind. Guys, once we get to 3 years or 5 years, we're going to be selling it so much, everyone gets this.
Yeah. And people think just exiting means, fully selling the business. You can exit multiple times along the way.
Yeah.
Right. And
yeah, I think
that's a win.
Yeah. If the Elon Musk didn't exit,
Yeah.
he would not be able to build what he did.
PayPal, right? It's 100% right. I think a lot of people, they fall in love with like just kind of keeping their business, and they lose their people and they wonder why. And I think like you said, the human nature, and I think it's in all of us, is people want progression. And the minute they stop progressing, they'll probably start looking elsewhere.
Yeah, and exit doesn't mean you give up. Exit doesn't mean you betrayed your people. Exit means you actually want to take care of them.
Absolutely.
Because you are giving them an opportunity to also exit. Like if you can sell the organization, if you want, just share the wealth with them. If you are building a business and you have some unknown questions, comment below. I'm going to be answering them on the next video. Yeah, can you share 3 secrets of scaling a business?
I would say absolutely knowing your KPIs. Just the simple KPIs, because in order to scale your business, you got to know where you're at. So you can't get better what you don't measure. You know what I mean? So just knowing those simple KPIs, the funnel for me of no matter the time period, will allow you to scale. The other one, I would say, simple, practical things to do that I would do is, increasing ticket items. Just look at your business, wherever you're at. You could do more by just increasing the ticket items. You don't have to add more people.
How can you increase the ticket?
Add more value. So you always want to be thinking about, okay, well, I have my customer. How can I add more value to my customer? A lot of people think that, I don't do price wars. I focus on value, unique package propositions. And the more things you can layer into those packages, then you can justify increasing your ticket price, which if you're a company doing $10 million a year, you can add $1 million a year just by increasing it by 10%. That's one. And then the other thing is scaling your business. You got to be able to, I would say, position yourself correctly. So using the home services space, we have a model where we go into homes and sell, right? When you're in a very competitive environment, we'll use here, LA, and if you're one area, but if you start positioning yourself in other pockets and you recruit in those pockets, you'll be positioned to scale your business a year from now.
What do you mean in pockets?
For instance, I'll give you an example. So if I'm here in LA and I start recruiting not just in LA, but in San Francisco and different areas and getting salespeople ready.
Got it.
Right?
You're basically talking about like regional expansion.
Regional expansion and in both ways for fulfillment, which is technicians, so onboarding technicians.
Yep.
And the second being, getting salespeople out there. I did that early on and people didn't understand why we were doing it now. We're not ready with in terms of being able, but we just kept recruiting. So recruiting is being a big part of scaling. Your recruiting team needs to be thinking about, well, first of all, actionably recruiting, and then also thinking about positioning where you're recruiting your people. Because when a year comes by and you have a bigger base and you're ready to scale, you have much more market share to cover.
Right.
You don't need to start fresh. You're already in little pockets with very little expense. Yeah, there's very little expense. For me, it's just add the ad budget in there. That's right. Yeah. That's the beauty of social media. You know what I mean? I would say it's those 3 things. For me, that's been a big thing. KPIs from the data side, recruiting. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then, just simply increasing your ticket items will help you scale.
What do you think about market size? If the market size is too small, you cannot do anything about it.
Absolutely. So if you're in a situation where your market size is too small?
Too small, correct. Yeah. Like it doesn't matter like how hard you work. If your market size is too small, then you won't be able to grow it, right? That's number 1. And number 2 is what about if the market is shrinking, it's not growing? First one, I would always look the market size. If the market has a size or not, right? And if it's big enough. And I normally look for the markets which is more than 20 billion in US. And then number 2 things I look is if the market is growing. And number 3 is, do I have advantage over competition?
Yes.
What value propositions we have, how we are better than others.
Yeah.
So it can be marketing strategy, price, or whatever, right? It can be anything. What makes it better than others?
Yeah.
And number 4 is, do we have a big whales? Who are we going to be selling to?
Yeah.
If no one is buying it, probably it's not a proper market. And then the last one, I think you should enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
But if all of the things piled up,
you're in a good
you're
time.
winning, you're in good time, you're winning.
And that's the high level approach of looking at it. I agree with you.
Why do you think the businesses fail?
Number one reason, I think people plan too much and don't take action.
Okay.
So too much planning. They're trying to have the perfect product. So they fall in love with their product and not their customer. So I would say they just don't understand their ideal customer profile, the ICP. Creating a great product and being in love with your product is one thing, but creating a great business is a whole different thing. You have to understand your customer base, like you said, the market, the potential, and the customer is not buying. You have to be, got to change my product to fit the market.
Correct.
If you don't have the product market fit, your business will fail. And I think a lot of people just don't know how to let go of that, right?
And how do you find out if the customer is liking your product?
That's a great question. I mean, if people are buying, A/B test. That's why I do the online marketing and do it myself at the beginning and go in, and you have to pivot along the way to understand it's really pain, right? So if you have people with a certain problem or pain, you're there to solve that solution. Right?
We are entrepreneurs. I think we're just problem solvers.
That's it. That's what it is. You're problem solvers. And then I think the other thing, from my experience and just talking to people that have had failed businesses, even myself at the beginning, I would say, not understanding what a $10 an hour task is and $1,000 an hour task is.
Not delegating.
Not delegating, yeah. So they don't understand the difference of what your time should be invested in.
Correct, yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to understand what you should be delegating that's worth $10 an hour, $12 an hour, compared to something that's worth $1,000 an hour.
Right.
I think those are two main things that come to mind. What about you? What do you think?
I think that businesses fail, as you just said, like they fall in love with product. I 100% agree with that. They just they don't analyze the market. They try to go against the wave, against the market. If the market is falling, don't. Better just choose another wave. It's not growing, it's too small, and you don't have advantage.
From my experience, the last thing I would say as well, just to kind of add to that, is they don't know their numbers. They think they're making money when they're not. I know I was there. You know what I mean? And you just think you're making all this money, but in reality, you're actually not profitable. So some people can, if you don't have your financials down, specifically even financial modeling, if you have the opportunity, you can outsource that for very little. You actually knowing your numbers is extremely important.
I think in the different stage of the business entrepreneurship, they face different problems. Like when in the beginning you are still in the field, now at that moment it's all about figuring out your product and your value proposition, right? Like that one is number one. And number two stage is now you're going to have to exit the field. You cannot be on the field, because if you keep going back to the field, you are killing your organization, you're killing the business. Like your job is not to sell or to deliver, to install or to fix. Your job is actually to manage the business, to actually have work on the strategies, on tactics. It's like now you know you have to know your numbers. You have to know your marketing metrics. Your funnel is working or not. You have to know your P&L.
Yes.
You have to know you have to pay people on time. You have to do the budgeting and planning and all that. So
and I think when we say, hey, the first thing you should do is sales and marketing, even I just said that, it's like people just don't actually focus till it's down the road on their financials. You could do that from day one in parallel, right? It's like, yes, that's the bloodline of the company, but to see the vitals of the company is your finances.
Because then whenever we start the business as entrepreneurs, visionaries, as an investor.
Yes.
We invest in ourselves, we hire ourselves to actually execute the strategy which came up to our mind. To actually do that 3-year plan, 5-year plan. Then actually you hire yourself, you hire the team, you motivate them, you make them to trust and believe and go after you. So actually you can execute the strategy and plan for 3 years or 5 years.
Exactly. And things change afterwards, right? As you grow, transforms your vision, you get more excited, you want to do more. You know what I mean?
And later on, what I understood is it's not about being a best on something, not being a best on marketing, being a best on sales, being a best on installing, because you can hire those people. Someone is going to have to be in your organization who does that better than you, because your job is actually kind of as a leader to manage and actually work on the strategy and guide them.
Mold that all together. Mold that and have the vision and make sure you're moving a long way, serving the values and the vision of the company, right?
If you would like to stay on the top of the home service business, please subscribe and follow. Actually, that's why we actually came up with a new program we have in our organization. We help other entrepreneurs to deploy, to integrate financial planning.
Great.
Yeah,
Great
and
tool.
we actually help them to actually understand the P&L, like what is revenue, what is the cost of goods sold, what is the gross profit, what should be the spend on marketing or sale. Like we basically put them on the chart of accounts and actually teach them how that works. Because most of the people, I think you can get to 1 million with just calculating your cash flow, but you won't be able to grow from that million to 5 or 10 or further. Or if you grow, you're going to make a problem mistake because you're not understanding, you're seeing your numbers. Because you're going to have to, it's not about now knowing just the unit economy itself, the microeconomy. It's about understanding the macroeconomy itself, the whole thing. And if your numbers are working, if your ROAS is correct, if you're spending in proper places.
100%. Another thing I would say as well for that question is the team members you have in your team can cost you a lot of money if you have the wrong team players for the culture.
So you believe in vision, mission, core values,
Absolutely.
and non-negotiables.
Absolutely.
It's not just word out there, right?
No, absolutely. And you got to kind of live it yourself, and you got to make sure everybody, a lot of people talk about loyalty, but it's really being loyal to your values,
right,
as an organization, instead of loyal to me.
Yeah,
Even me, I got to be loyal to the values of the business. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's extremely important.
No, you have to stick to your vision. You have to stick to your mission, and the core values. I think it's like a DNA of organization, and non-negotiables. Like it's like you should not allow anyone to break them, right? Like,
yes, I think that's extremely important for sure.
We are completely fully virtual organization. Everyone works from home, and before COVID, we used to work from office.
And how's the business been since? Is it bigger, better?
Yeah, it's bigger and better, better alignment in organization. Yes, because before we had 3 offices: office in LA, office in Ukraine and Kharkov, and office in Philippines, and we had like probably 50 people in each, right? But they all kind of in one organizational structure, but they still pool to their own tribes, and that was kind of breaking the organization itself.
Yeah.
So when we actually before COVID, I was pushing them to come, and I was coming even during the COVID myself as a leader to show them an example, like we are in home services, we are essential, let's actually go through. But eventually I understood, like, you know what, let's actually, I stopped fighting with the time. I let everybody go home and work from remote. And actually it became better.
There was obviously a concern at the beginning, right?
Correct. It was a concern in the beginning. It was a huge concern in the beginning. But nowadays we are working, everyone works from remote, from home. They're probably traveling, like someone in Aspen, another one in Hawaii. The one is at basically maybe Bali. Because when that office was closed down in Ukraine because of the war, they basically they basically move out from the country all over the place.
Wow.
And they can basically work. It was unfortunate, but they can work remotely everywhere now. And we are hiring. And when you have a global virtual organization, you have a bigger talent pool.
Way more, because then you have flexibility.
You have flexibility, and you're not depending in the local one region.
I'm somebody who was raised in organization of being in the office, getting a part of that culture, the physical of everybody being there and whatnot, the energy and everything. So it's like, it's really interesting to see. And I've always been a believer, like, no, you need an office, but how is the culture of being in a digital space? Like, when you were saying, when you do have an office and you get a little bit big, I dealt with like some bureaucracy and, problems start happening internally. I think like digitally, you probably wouldn't have the same issues, right?
No, digitally, you don't have the issue. Like the thing is, if your processes are not documented, you're going to have a hard time of onboarding people.
That's right.
So, but we have a really good detailed onboarding process. When someone comes in, we already have a Gantt chart with like 50 different things they have to go through and all of the documents, all the SOPs are there, the trainings are there, they immediately get onboarded, right? Like,
that's awesome.
We can offboard someone within a month, less than a month, and offboard someone like within a week.
Having a digital team, big team like the way you've done, technology, the software you're using is extremely important, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the technology is really important. And if you can put those processes together, and it means you can automate it. The call center can be automated. All of the process can be automated. It can be efficient. Like, actually, we have in company a rule now. they can purchase unlimited amount of subscriptions on AI and automation as long as it's job related. We push everyone, like, you don't have to ask, just go buy, sign up, and use the company resources and utilize it. But once a month, we're going to be doing audit from the controller accounting blog, making sure they're utilizing it, using it, and they can actually report how it's helping their job. And we don't want to hire anyone who doesn't know how to use AI.
Yeah, it's the future.
You're not going to lose the job because of AI. You're going to lose the job because someone who knows how to use AI. That's it.
Yes, 100%. Also, the ones who are leveraging, using it, it's going to create you to be able to scale with no cost increase, right?
Yeah. Where you are using AI at the moment?
Oh, that's a great question. So, I mean, AI, we started working with AI to start to do a lot of our process customer service roles on the back end. So in the home service space, a lot of calls come in for service, of course. You do an install, something happens, and every single time somebody picks up the phone, you're paying for that.
Right.
And a lot of these problems are very consistent, like they're the same type of issues. So my equipment's not working, it's, so we started we built our own app. We used AI to, we put in all the different things that customer service reps were doing. We documented it all, built a cadence for it. And, the customer, instead of having them call in, we redirect them to an AI messaging.
Yeah.
And they would just book the appointment for them. Mm-hmm. Hence eliminating time for service, and
that's interesting.
saving. Yeah.
That's interesting.
How about yourself?
We are basically implemented AI coach.
Nice.
Every single ticket and call is basically listened, analyzed by AI, and AI scoring the agents and actually pointing it out to the mistakes they're doing, improving it. And we are doing the same thing for on the distributions, on the ticket distribution, and job distribution also goes through AI by the scores. Basically the best technician gets the best job to the best customer.
Absolutely,
as long as it scores, yes. I believe you took the Harvard OPM program, right? Like, can you tell me more about that? Is it really worth how much it cost, and is it really worth spending that kind of money? What did you learn from it?
That's a phenomenal program, by the way. The Owner's President's Management Program. I was recommended to it by my partner, who actually took the year before me course. And I think when you get to a certain level in business and you're making a certain amount of money and you can afford to, I think you should always afford to invest in yourselves in different stages, whether it be Harvard. I've done the Tony Robbins and a bunch of different self-growth things, but Harvard specifically, it's a very, very unique experience, right? So you go there for 3 weeks, you actually have to check out completely out of your business. So the first thing for me, beyond Harvard itself being there and like learning and everything that I got out of the experience there, it's a litmus test to getting away from your business, because you don't have time to be in your business. They give you 50 cases, you know what I mean? So you have to like read all these case studies, and you have all these people, you're living with them, you're reviewing the cases with them. It's a lot of time that you have to check out of your business, and they prepare you for that. So it's a litmus test. Hey, can I get away from my business for 3 weeks? And a lot of people are like, hard to do that, right? It makes you uncomfortable for that, because a lot of business owners, they want to check in and see how everything's going, and that letting go to grow happens, and then you get to come back to your business and see how bad it did. You're like, oh my goodness, but it tells you what you need to work on too, right?
So what happened to the business when you came back?
The first time I went, we definitely had a little bit of some scares, but they held it together. So I was proud, they definitely held it together. And I think it's just, giving them the time to do that. You might do that for 2-3 days and and something bad happens, but sometimes it's a little bit of a shift. They may rely on you for certain things.
Your leadership grows, I think. They take responsibility, right?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of relaxes and then puts their, socks up and takes lead afterwards. And somebody usually does that, shines in the moment, On the social side, incredible. You're dealing with business owners from all over the world. So you'll have almost 200 people a part of your cohort that you're with, and these are owners from all different walks of life.
Yep.
And usually there's about 20 unicorns, so meaning special high-level unicorns that we probably will see on Forbes, and do things, and you get to learn from all these people. So the perspective that you get, the networking that you get to make, and the fun that you get to have with these people that, it's incredible.
Yeah, then you get what, diploma?
So you do become a Harvard alumni once you finish it. That's right. And don't actually get a diploma. And like I said, they have a bunch of courses. OPM is their famous one.
Yeah, I think it's like final one, right?
Yeah, it's like the famous one. A lot of people, when you're doing a lot of great things, go, and I recommend that you should go. Any programs you've done in your experience that you'd recommend?
Yeah, I did different programs. One of them is from my mentor, Larry Janetsky, Contractor Nation. It was 2-year program. I used to go like 2 days every 2 months. You get to meet with other contractors in the same room. I learned a lot. It was a really good program. And I think now they became more of a digital.
Nice.
I was part of a lot of masterminds. Another one was Harvard Management School as well. That's where you really learn about difference between the founder and the business owner and the CEO. They actually do 2 different hats.
Wow.
It's not the same, yes. It was how to properly exit the organization, properly delegating the functions to the CEO. So that was kind of my question, what I was looking for a long time. Because before I did EOS, Entrepreneur Organization System, I did Scalable, Scaling Up. Then I was part of Epic, and I did Platform Review, Brandon Dawson. I think that cost like $190,000.
Wow.
Is it really worth $190,000? I don't think so.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's too much of a branding they have, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Based on how much impact that they've had, they
Yeah.
justify selling it, charging that much.
Because we were already advanced enough. We already had all of the P&Ls and marketing strategies, regional strategy and everything else. They couldn't add more value. So then probably it adds a lot of value for others, but not to us. And plus, we are not a brick and mortar company. We are more tech-enabled company. And it's different animal, right? So, but my education-wise was just going 4 years in Uzbekistan. It was University of World Economy, Diplomacy, International Economy. That was my degree before I came here and started doing all kind of work. What was your educational thing?
So I went to university for business admin.
Yeah.
I didn't end up finishing. 18.
You grew up in Canada?
Yeah, Canada, Waterloo. I was born in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, Saudi Arabia.
But I came to the US when I was 4 years old. And then from there, stayed here for about 6 months.
I don't know people move out from Saudi Arabia.
I mean, I wasn't part of the oil family or anything like that, Just humble beginnings, went to school, and I would say...
When you moved to US? I mean, Canada?
When I was 4 years old.
4 years old?
Yeah, I moved to Canada when I was 4 years old, Waterloo, and was able to get into, like I said, from 4 to 18, have 4 brothers. Just humble beginnings, government housing and everything. And after my first year at university was after the 2008 crash, my parents had lost their jobs. And then I was able to get into sales.
Yeah, when did you get to the sales?
2009.
And how old you were?
18.
18?
Yeah.
Tell me how did you start that thing?
So I was literally 18 looking for a summer job to help out at the household. Mom and dad lost their jobs in the car manufacturing space because 2008, everybody's, laid off all these, everybody, right? So got this job in sales. It was an energy retailing company. Yeah. And, started in door to door. Mm-hmm. And it shaped my knowledge of sales.
So you started from door to door?
Door to door, 100% commission.
Yeah.
First check was $18, but I stuck it out because the people in the, with me, some people were making $2,000 in a week, and I was 18. It took me about 3 months to get my learning curve and, stick it out. And once I knew what I was doing, I quickly became one of the top salespeople in North America within that organization, and got promoted, became a manager, had 30 sales guys. Yeah, working for me and my team. And, I got some awards there, got to travel to Rome, England, was on a bunch of leadership summits, really young in my life, like 18, 19, they would take us to leadership summits, teach us about, like just to be future leaders and things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Put us out of our comfort zone. And the biggest thing for me to I used to work 6-7 days a week literally for years straight. So,
Yeah.
and I got used to doing that. So I started to have a totally different work ethic than most people,
Yeah.
which helped out in business later on. A lot of people, they don't realize, the hours are very important.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs out there, they want to start, but if you really want to start a business, just start it on the evenings and the weekends.
Yeah.
If that's not for you, then entrepreneurship is not really for you. Then
It's a good test.
you can have a full-time job and at the same time have a side hustle on the weekends and the evenings.
Yeah. And then you're pushing yourself to get used to
Correct.
working those hours.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. And you're kind of at the same time, you're keeping the company hours and your own. And you're actually starting your own business on your own time.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, from there I ended up going into the HVAC space as a sales agency. It was a whole different type of program, but the last company had taught me how to sell.
Yeah.
And there was changes along the way. We had to sell different programs, products, and we they taught us all that. And then when we came to sales agency, there wasn't as much structure in this HVAC company that I worked for. So we had to kind of figure it out ourselves on the whole side, from recruiting, selling, our own office. But I made a lot more money at a very young age and was able to kind of learn and understand how to build my own business, you know what I mean? Which kind of groomed me for opening up my first organization on the HVAC side, which was in Quebec. So I think it's the way you look at a lot of people are looking at how do I get more customers? I think you got to know who your customer is first.
Yeah.
I mean, where you were at. You're a platform. Your customer is going to be different than me as a HVAC guy that's running out of my truck. My customer or their customer, they may think for them is getting more customers. Maybe you're their customer. They need somebody that they can get consistent work from.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. At the end, who pays? Consumer pays, right? As long as you deliver good service with high NPS score, like customer obsession, with no recalls, how you deliver it doesn't matter. One of my biggest mistakes was I was competing too long. Like nowadays, I understand the partnership is everything. Like how can we utilize your resources and how can you utilize my resources? Like how can we utilize each other's resources? That's the key.
Yes, I agree with you. And it's a lot of times, when you look at the business as partnerships, you might want to do it yourself because you're doing so well and you think you know what you're doing. There's a time where partnerships extremely matter and are the difference from going from 8 figures to 9 figures, right? Definitely agree with you. 7 figures to 8 figures, whatever it might be. But yeah, you gotta definitely, partnerships are extremely important, shared resources, and how you view the business is for sure.
What is really the end goal?
I don't think it's definitely one size fits all, but yeah, for sure. Like platforms are out there now because of technology and they have the tech set up, and the boots on ground are out there as well. And I think they should be relying on the platforms or working to partner up with the platforms, like you're saying.
Because platforms already have a best practice.
That's it.
They already have the SOPs and digitalization, everything. Do you believe in growing organically or you believe in growing through M&A, through mergers, acquisitions, through buying companies?
I don't have experience through growing through M&A.
Yeah.
We were in the process of, doing a raise about a year and a half ago, but I do have experience of, when I started in the home service space, I was a huge believer in growing organically. Even my salespeople, they were not allowed to be from the same industry. Those are one of my non-negotiables.
I got it.
So I had to bring in people with a fresh mind that don't understand. They could be the top salesperson and they would come to us and be like, hey, yeah, I'm the top salesperson at this company.
Yeah.
And they think that they're going to get the job and that's why they wouldn't get the job. You got a clean slate and you do things a certain way. It's much easier to teach somebody that doesn't have preconceived, notions or anything like that in the market, right?
Yeah. What about the M&A? So you would not do the M&A, you would just grow organically, basically.
Yeah, at the beginning. I think there's a time to do M&A. It kind of comes back to what you were saying. I think if you have a platform that can get M&As, and you have the resources in place to get a lot of these smaller companies that are able to fulfill, I think that's a great way as well.
Yeah, I think M&A can solve any business problems. It can solve your talent problem. It can solve your revenue problems. It can solve your EBITDA net profit problems, optimization problems.
Yeah.
It can solve SOP problems depending on who you hire. So I think M&A is, if the airplane has 2 engines, the one engine is organic and the second engine is M&A. So I think the company, once you get to a certain size, of course, once you become a platform company, I think now you should actually do the tuck-in acquisitions.
I will, yeah, 100%. Because people start to think about it. We started to think about like, M&As, but, using that same money to acquire a company or putting it into your business to expand. What do you think about that? Because the other area is like, if I go acquire a company that's $2-3 million, what could I do with $2-3 million in expanding into different markets?
Yeah, but when you're buying a company for 2-3 million, you're not really coming up as 2-3 million. You're only coming up as 200,000-300,000. Because the rest you can leverage a bank and financing and everything else, right? And I think that acquiring a company is not just about buying a EBITDA, not just buying about revenue. You have to do the strategic acquisition. It has to properly fit, cultural fit, the revenue fit, the model, everything else. It's like you have to be really cautious.
When is the right time to do that?
When is the right time? Like what company you're buying? Are you buying a proper? What's going to happen to the owner when they exit? If it's going to fall apart or not? Like
what about you and for your business? When do you know it's like, okay, it's the time for me to start to acquire companies? This is like how did you know that for yourself?
In order to acquire a company, the founder or the business owner should free up his time. So you should delegate operation to director, president, or CEO. So you're not running day-to-day operations. Now you're actually wearing M&A hat and actually focusing on M&A because it's another full-time job. So like you have to do deal sourcing, you have to do negotiations, and after that it's another part is actually integrating, right? Like you have to properly integrate with the organization as well.
Yes.
It's a really important part. So if you do like 1 or 2 acquisitions, like you have to become a platform first in order to start actually switching to the acquisition mode. And you have to have all of the systems in place. Because you should already know on strategically how you're going to improve that business.
Got it. Yeah.
If the business is better than us, I will be cautious of buying it because I'm afraid that I'm going to make it worse. So, and when you are acquiring a company, right away you can increase their pay 10-20%, all of the people, so you can align with. Normally you don't want to change the culture. You don't want to change anything for 6 months or a year. Like you want to keep everything in the same order.
Nice.
And probably you can even give them like equity or something, depending if they want to do that. And then when you're buying a company, not just buying it for the revenue or EBITDA, it has to be really strategic buy. Like currently we are looking for buying companies in appliance repair, in air conditioning, in electrical, the plumbing, air duct cleaning, handyman, home cleaning, even pest control. They have to be kind of in the SoCal or California. Appliance repair, we can buy it in anywhere in the nation. Electrical and HVAC also probably. But they have to be kind of a similar model like us, more of a service based more instead of like sales organizations like yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because we kind of my management team can manage it better.
Your experience is in the fulfillment side.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, and so at the same time, we are actually buying a vertically integrated company. We are looking to buy a marketing agency who's doing like 5 million to 10 million top line, and maybe like a $500,000, $1 million, or maybe 2 million EBITDA, who actually serving home service companies, who has the expertise of search engine optimization, PPC, like Facebook ads, and all the entire sales team and operation, the website design. This way you can, when you merge that agency to your own agency, like you basically get like everything becomes much better.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they're on a platform like yours, the more you acquire, the more work they have.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So it's great. Private equity being the biggest one. It's been hot right now, right? The HVAC millionaires and everything that are happening in the plumbing.
Correct.
It's been a hot space. I remember I went to a Service Titan event about a few years ago, and I got to meet some of the players in the M&A space, and some people that successfully exited for a lot of money, and the private equity companies were there teaching all the business owners what they have to have ready to be able to get sold to a private equity company.
Yeah, we are currently helping out to a lot of private equity companies to, even if they don't fit to our criteria, if they're already doing 5 to 10 million plus, all the way to $100 million, we can actually help them to get acquired to 9 to 12 plus X of the EBITDAs.
Yeah. because there's a lot of little things that you can do
Correct.
to make sure your multiple is
Yeah,
higher.
and a lot of companies, a lot of companies won't sell if the revenue mix is different.
Got
If
it.
the companies would only sell if you're only doing residential or commercial. But if you're
Separately.
doing separate, they would only accept like 80% residential, 20% commercial, or other way around. But if you're doing more than 20%, mix like 50-50, that company will never sell.
Interesting.
The only way to sell that company is you have to divide it under two separate companies. You have to put it two separate management, and then you have to sell this piece to the commercial, whatever private equity, other piece to the residential private equity roll-up companies. That's the only way. And we can help to do that thing as well, because we just basically come and implement business operation system to both sides. Just trying to play the both games is the main problem.
The two different markets, two different risks, two different ways of generating
Yes,
revenue.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a business process are different, right?
Yeah.
Like on the residential, you do it through marketing and sales.
Yeah.
On the commercial, you do it through the partnership, through relationships.
Yes, that's right.
It's completely different business
Totally
processes.
different model, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Earlier you separated, earlier you stopped doing one.
So are your advice to business owners that are in that bracket of the 10 million plus, and maybe they have, multiple channels of commercial, residential, to separate them as different entities? Is that what you were saying?
Correct. Yeah. Separate as a separate entities, and try to sell those companies separately.
Got it.
So you can sell separately residential, you can sell commercial. And businesses won't sell the ones that are doing development.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that next. New development, like you're talking about.
Yeah, new development companies won't sell.
Well, it's because it's not predictable.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not predictable. You are basically working as a subcontractor to somebody else, to GC.
That's right. It's just that's a cash generating
Cash
business.
generation business. That's it.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. And it's based on market conditions. There's too many things that are
Correct.
variables.
Yes, correct.
Wouldn't that just be a cash generating company within residential, for instance? Or you would say, hey, separate that too?
You should separate, because you won't be able to sell. You can keep it for yourself, because whenever you're going to be offering a business, you're going to say like, I have 50% or 70% residential, 30%, 50% commercial. Like development. They're going to just remove that development as a trash.
They're not going to add it to it's not going to affect your EBITDA or anything.
Correct. It won't affect your revenue. It won't affect your EBITDA.
Interesting.
It's useless. It's hard to scale zoo. It's a much easier to scale a farm. How you deal with personal efficiency, dealing about your goals and not to burn out.
The first things first for me is I would say my routine. And routine for me means my health. I think the biggest thing, my foundation of having high efficient days is actually sleeping on time.
How many hours you sleep?
So I sleep about 7-8 hours,
Okay.
But I sleep early.
Okay.
And I wake up really early. So I'm
What
up
time
at
you go to sleep?
I'm sleeping around 9 to 10 p.m.
Wow.
every day.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm up at 5 a.m. My days are usually starting early.
Yeah.
And then, getting the sleep that I need. Because I think like when you have that, you can go for a very long time. I saw my foundation is always built around sleeping on time, because, waking up early is actually not what I think. A lot of people will try to just wake up at a certain time, but it's having efficient sleep is the key. And that's what changes for everybody. Everybody's willing to go out to the bar, this and that and everything. And I think when I'm out optimal, I believe it's sleep is my foundation first.
I completely agree with you about the sleep. I used to, I didn't know before. I used to think it's not that important. I could live up with like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But lately I started understanding, and I actually even got this O-ring to actually measure my sleep and quality of the sleeps. Like it makes a big difference when you have enough sleep. I completely agree. What else?
Health as a whole, sleep, how you eat, when you eat, all that stuff. I think being very self-aware of all that, you can have optimal energy throughout the day and not burn out. You know what I mean? And then there's things that help your, having high energy during the day. For me, it's coffee. Drink a lot of coffee and everything. The second thing is, what I would do for me is I would blitz 3 months. I do like 3-month blitzes and then take time with family. So I would do a lot of 3-month blitzes where I'd work a lot of hours, and put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
Sometimes 6, 7 every single day.
Yeah.
For 3 months, and then spend that quality time with the family. For my first year of business, I was out there every single day, 7 days a week. nonstop, But what ended up happening is, by year 2, year 3, found myself having a lot more time.
But do you know that in when your organization and structure changes later, it's about not being 7 days a week and being active, kind of letting it go now.
Being more efficient and
Correct.
actually having people to take those roles on.
Right.
And then this is where you start to focus on the projects.
Correct.
And other, strategical things, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
I'm sure, I think for you, what my question would be is like, you're definitely, I saw you on Forbes on time management. You're probably somebody that, I could learn from on time management. So let me ask you, how are you managing your time when you started the business? Home Alliance, how are you managing your time today?
You're right. Like when you are on the field, of course, like I was like 24/7 up, right? Like I would basically start my work at 6 a.m. and I would come back home like 12, like nonstop. I never really took even break, like when I was starting my first business, and later on, I start kind of managing time differently. Basically, what I do is I start making strategic plans now, like
Right.
for 3 years, 5 years, or a year. Then I break it down to quarterly targets. I have a kind of a whiteboard session what I want to achieve, and after that I have a monthly plans, and I kind of measure my time focus, and then I have weekly. Every week I sit myself.
Can I ask you a question? How often are you measuring your time focus? Like you're doing that daily or weekly?
I'm measuring it daily.
Interesting.
Yeah,
At the
yeah.
end of the day? Or the
I
next day?
use the Google. I use the Google Insights already. Yes, and on the weekly basis, I make my plan for the next week.
Got it.
I have for each of my focus, I have dedicated time. As a CEO of Home Alliance, I want to allocate, let's say, 10 hours a week. And as a mergers, acquisition, and fundraising, I want to allocate 10 or 20 hours. On the partnership, I want to allocate 10 hours. On the biz dev, I want to allocate like 10, 20 hours. On as a founder, I want to allocate 10 hours. As a personal brand, whatever we are doing is another like 10 hours a week, right? Something like that, like or whatever the hours. Like I have like assigned already plans for a quarter, how much time I want to allocate. Then on the weekly basis, those things has to kind of align with the time on the weekly basis. Then on the daily basis, before I go to sleep, I look at my tomorrow calendar and how they're kind of plan. And my chief of staff helps me to optimize. Like if it's internal meetings, they have to only book it afternoon. Before noon, like in the morning, before noon, I should be actually going after strategic, the M&A or fundraising, like when I want to kind of go and get.
Nice.
But if someone wants to come and get from me, they have to wait an afternoon, basically.
Yeah, you got to go on your calendar and
Yeah,
book it.
defense and offense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if I'm kind of, if it's defensive, it goes afternoon. If it's offense, goes to in the morning when you're fully energized.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then not to get burned out, your mindset and your plans. I think that if you're too comfortable, I think you don't have enough big plans, I guess, right? Your surroundings, maybe. When you're growing organization, are you looking for like salespeople? Who are you looking for now?
Definitely need a Salesforce. Definitely need to be able to partner with a platform like yourself, and you need technicians. You know what I mean? Fulfillment. You need to be able to fulfillment to be able to scale and grow.
So basically, you're looking for licensed contractors.
Correct.
Who can deliver, who can actually take over a lot of jobs, right?
Absolutely. And then even sales agencies and sales units right now.
Yeah.
Because
So the door knockers, maybe, right?
both door knockers and closers in general, where we're going to be able to provide leads, appointments that are already set, that are highly qualified, and consistently get them in houses more than what they're getting into now if they're in this space. And even people that are not even have never done sales before.
So you can basically teach anyone
Absolutely.
to do sales, right? Like
Absolutely.
How much the average salesperson makes?
It really ranges, but in this industry, you can make quite a bit of money. Let's talk solar, which is the space I'm in. You're talking about anywhere from 50K in the low end, and you got some sales closers high end making upwards of 300,000-400,000 a year. There are top closers, what I hear, making in the 7 figures, that I've met personally, and It's definitely doable because of the high ticket item it is in the
Yes.
solar space. But like I said, I am definitely looking for sales units and sales closers, or even people that want to get into sales.
So basically, we need the Salesforce, we need the production installing for the HVAC, right? For home services.
Correct.
And the plumbing, probably.
That's right.
Who can actually install those efficiencies.
That's right.
Guys, if any of you are in the industry, you want to become a salesperson, you want to join the team, or you are a licensed contractor in HVAC, you would like to kind of join the production and get unlimited amount of jobs coming in, or you're a plumber who can install those efficient system water heaters, comment below or follow. We're going to be sharing a link where you can actually like send your application or your contact. We're going to be contacting you and we're going to be onboarding you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Mo, I really appreciate your time to coming and sharing your experience.
Absolutely.
About how to build and scale home service organization.
Anytime. Appreciate you having me here. Definitely a really, really insightful, inspiring conversation.
Definitely. I got to learn a lot from you about you and about your business and how you think. And I believe you're going to be able to grow this organization like within the next 3-5 years. I think we're going to be seeing a next founder, next unicorn in the solar industry.
Hey, that's the plan. That's the plan, right? Yeah, I look forward to it. And it's it's fun being in America now and United States. And, really happy I met you at that mastermind.
Yeah.
Because now we're here, right?
Yeah, it's a mastermind's other place where you really meet and great people.
That's right. And
Thanks,
I think they appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like the video or have comments, please comment below. Let's have the conversation going about how to building a successful home service business in US or anywhere in the world. Make sure to subscribe and follow and watch the next videos.